Hey, hey, hey. Let's make sure I am live before I start getting y'all all up into this episode today. Okay, let me look. It's Tuesday, guys. So I know this is a special episode today. Let's make sure I'm live. Okay, so I think to be live. So I'm in here. So special episode today, guys, because if you rock with me, you know that on last Friday we had the behind the highlight reels, right? And the episode was getting real good. I had Chanel Spencer on here, and we was just all up into talking, and then she just froze. And I didn't know what happened. And then I froze. And then the internet kicked me off. So y'all know we had to do it again. Let me share it. So while you're waiting, go ahead and share. I'm going to share. You going to share. Everybody about to share. And we about to do it like this. So today we decided to bring Chanel back, get right on into the rest of her business. Shout out to her because Friday when my internet kicked me off, she kept going with the show. Like, if y'all looking for somebody that's going to host and hold you down, Chanel got you. She went right on with the show as it kicked me off and kept talking to y'all and giving y'all all that phenomenal information that you needed. So if you missed it, even though it was messed up, catch the replay on YouTube later on this week and you'll be able to see how that went down. Y'all talk about behind the highlight reels. This is legit behind the highlight reels. Okay, so y'all seen what happens when technology fails us, but what happens when you got somebody that's down in the dump with you, ready to hold it down. All right, so today for the special episode, we brought Chanel Spencer back. And for y'all that don't remember, and for my new people, hey. So for y'all that don't remember, Chanel, and let me go ahead and go to my live so I can see the comments because, you know, I don't trust technology anymore. I look on my own. So let me see the comments again. So for today, okay, hey, we got people saying hey. Today we're talking to Chanel Spencer. She is the CEO of Maximum Evolution. And if you don't know what that is, I'm going to need you to go check up on it right now. She has her own podcast. This woman has her own publishing company. She's doing it big. She got a book that's about to be released. She's going to tell us all about that today. But ladies and gentlemen, I will not waste more time. Let's bring in Chanel. Hey, girl. Let's see. Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
All right. I'm like, not already.
Technology. We ain't going to keep doing this. We're going to keep doing this. All right. So, Chanel, how are you today?
I'm well. It's Tuesday and it feels like it's Friday already, but I'm well.
Right. We got our Friday vibes on, ready for the weekend, but
yes.
just at the beginning. But
exactly.
That's okay. We're going to make it do what it do
Right.
today. All right. So for the people that did not catch us on last week, right, we went through a lot of your story. And I want to do a quick recap of, you know, who you are so you can go ahead and share your story again. But first and foremost, go ahead and tell the people who you are and what you do.
Well, hello, beautiful people. My name is Chanel Spencer, and I help women to transform their lives because we all have gone through challenges and we all have traumas and have negative experiences, but it's all about how we decide to move forward and be our greatness anyways, right? So I also help women to create their own table because at the end of the day, we don't want to sit and fight and bang down doors for other people's tables. We can just go and build our own, period.
All right, building our own tables over here. All right, so Chanel, we talked last week about how you went from working in corporate. This girl was the general manager of a hotel. Now, if you've been to a hotel, you know how on our side, what we want to see, think about what it takes for you to run the entire hotel. Chanel, tell us a little bit more about your life as a corporate general manager.
It was a great experience because I met a lot of amazing people. Why I was more excited about the promotion and becoming a GM it gave me opportunity to provide opportunities for others. And so just from like the guest checking in procedure and process, it literally starts from like 6 a.m. and we have 75 employees. It was a 236 room hotel, $19 million in revenue, millions of dollars in expenses. And we would literally have families, corporate guests, or every kind of person that you can think of stayed in our hotel because we were right in the heart of New York City in Chelsea.
Okay.
So it was an amazing experience. It was challenging, but of course, because I was a newer GM, and you have different challenges, especially when you grow within the same property. You know, people that used to be line level with or used to be co-workers too, they now have to understand like, hey, I'm the boss now. So right.
Okay.
But it was an amazing experience because it helped me to push myself past my limits. That was one. Two, I learned so much more. I was already doing GM roles before I was a GM because that's just how I function. I like to be 10 steps ahead. So I started doing executive summaries, budgets, revenue, sales from when I was an AGM and a regional accounting manager. So it was a great experience, honestly, but it had its challenges as most corporate companies do. But yes.
All right. So that phenomenal job, right? What made you feel like, yo, I got to get up out of here. I got to do things on my own. I have to be my own boss. Tell us a little bit about that.
Please hold while I get my list. No, I'm kidding. So there were a bunch of different moving parts that kind of pushed me to that point. It was a hard decision. I was with the company for 10 years. And I started as a GSA and I grew with the company to become a general manager. So it was hard because, again, it's like a relationship and you're kind of ending and starting a new chapter. But it was I was burnt out physically, mentally, emotionally, because I was overworked, like working like a maniac. It was the salary in which they gave me my raise, like literally before I left, what I wanted, but I was already over it. So it didn't matter. You could have given me 20,000, 30,000 on top of what you gave me, and I probably still wouldn't have stayed. It was the challenges with the environment. It was a very toxic environment. I'm very kind, and I try to be understanding of people's challenges, or that not everyone is a me, a rock star, and and no, for real. And so I had to shift my perspective and shift my expectation because I go 10 times hard with everything that I do, but not everybody is built that same way, or not everybody understands as quickly. You know what I mean? So it was that. And then also just the level of disrespect that I was dealing with, and the level of feeling as though I was unsupported by the corporate people and the company that I was literally driving myself to the ground for. So it was a bunch of different things that made me just be like, and my vacation, I went away to England, and I went during budget time, and I went during where it was month end. But my daughter and my sister were like, it's 5:30. When are we I worked the entire time that I was in England, like literally. So it was just a bunch of different things that just kind of pushed me to the edge, honestly.
So listen, I heard you say all the stuff that you struggled through. Now I know for the hotel, they lost a good one because if y'all don't know Chanel, I met this lady when, so Taria Avant, so if you know Taria Avant, she puts on phenomenal virtual events and phenomenal physical events. Now, of course, COVID hit, so we couldn't do our little physical event, but I was a speaker at her Virtual Profits Conference, and I offered up a class called Fire Fear. And Chanel was one of my students. Y'all, this woman here, she held it down in the class. She did all of her work. She literally went above and beyond and was one of the students that I was most proud of. Like, she really did what she did. Like, we made her, I'm not going to tell all your business, girl, but I had her do numbers and dates on a planner for what she was going to do. That way I can hold her accountable. And she did not press me when I pressed her. She didn't catch an attitude, because y'all know if some people, you tell them, I'm gonna hold you accountable, and they're like, oh yeah, okay. And then when you like, hey, what's up with this? What's the status? And they're like, you on my back, what you doing? That's what you're paying me for. But this girl held it down, stuck to it, and did what she needed to do. So tell me a little bit. We're gonna get a little bit off topic. I want you to tell people about your experience with the course, because I absolutely love you in the course.
Well, first, I had to bring. See, I knew either way, even if you didn't ask me, I was gonna plug in anyways. But look at my certificate. Let me see how amazing she is. I don't know if you can see it, but I got my certificate. I'm not playing. Yes, I'm taking over the world. Yes. It was amazing, honestly. I'm very big on development and facing my challenges, and I'm very clear on where my areas of opportunity are. So I knew that there were things that were holding me back from truly releasing and doing things that I really wanted to do and get done. So in the course, I was like, yeah, hi, Carol. I was like, oh my goodness, like it was amazing. The modules, the live trainings, the assignments, it was great. Like the way you set it up, the way you held us accountable, the way you followed up, the way you put notes in our homework assignments. I was like, yes, I felt like I was in school for real. It was good. And then also the bigger piece was holding the accountability, the level of support, and how you really you were really dedicated to all of our success through the program as well as our future. So I appreciate you. It was a really great experience. And I fired my fear. I did.
And for y'all that's wondering, just to put my plug in, we will have the next session in August. So make sure you are paying attention so that you can get in during the special scholarship that may be offered. But anyways, like I said, so seeing how you moved in the course, I felt like, yo, this woman here is a force to be reckoned with, and she has to share with more people about what happened in her transition. I knew I had to get you on the show, so thank you for coming. But let's talk more about how you transition and when you transition, because I know last time, for the ones that didn't catch it, last time she told us that she planned, but it was kind of an emotional transition, like on the spot. Go ahead and tell us more about that.
So I left in September of 2019, which feels like it was ages ago, but it was literally like yesterday in real life. But I started feeling some type of way about just the role and the company a few months prior to that. And so it was impulsive. It was an impulsive decision when I did depart, but it was a built up of frustration ultimately that kind of was like I could sit here, and I was working 14-hour days. I was working 7 days a week, because even if I wasn't on property, I was still getting the phone calls, I was still getting the emails, and I like to be on top of everything. I like to have a resolution to a problem that I don't even know exists. And I felt like I had to be that way either way. Like, you know what I mean? So it was like the pressure, it was the stress. I was dealing with a lot within the corporate political space, because it is a political game. And I dealt with sexual harassment. I dealt with just harassment in general as a woman and a woman of color. I was so frustrated because it felt like, okay, if I wasn't a woman of color, a Black woman, if I wasn't a Black woman, would you feel comfortable communicating with that? Would you make the joke that you made? Would certain things, or if I was a man, forget about if I was a man, would you feel comfortable interacting with me or saying certain things that were said? And so it was just very frustrating. And so for me, I gave my resignation in August, but I gave them like 4 to 6 weeks, because it was an impulse. It was like, yeah, I'm going. And I knew that there was a lot happening. We still had renovation. We still had budget. We still had things moving. And I wanted to still help with the process, because I'm not evil, I try not to be. But But I had funds that I built within the company and funds that I had that I saved by myself that kind of held me down financially so that my kids could still go to private school, so that I could still function as a regular woman and not feel like I'm falling apart. But I was semi freaked out because I always have a plan. I always know what tomorrow is and how it's going to look. I mean, God always has his own plan sometimes,
right.
but you know what I'm saying? Like, I always like to have a plan, like, you know what I mean? And so it was a freak out moment, but it was necessary. And again, it was because it was either I choose myself or the job. And for once in my life, I chose myself.
Yes, girl. So for y'all that's listening, that's like, I'm about to flip, I'm going to jail. Because I know for me, I left my workplace and then I went to work for myself. And then years later, I ended up going back into the workforce in a whole different forecast or whatever, whole different segment. That's a whole different story, y'all. But for me, I was like, F everything, I'm out. Like, I'm going to jail today if I don't quit today. Like, it ain't gonna be no more tomorrow for you, sir. You endangered species.
You know what I think of? The Cuba Gooding meme when he's walking out. Like, you ever see that one?
I promise you that was me. Mm-hmm. But kudos to you, because you were still loyal and still held your integrity when you left out. Now, I've tried to quit multiple jobs at multiple times. Sometimes the Lord will hold your tongue and you won't be able to say nothing else. But I know sometimes I let the devil use me. I ain't even gonna lie. But thank you for telling us the truth, but also being honest about planning. I like what you said, to plan for things that you don't even expect that's coming, like expect that's not even here yet. So for people that be wondering, start your little planning now if you're ready to get up out of here, because it's hard out here in these CEO streets. This is not an easy thing. Be for real about it. Now, you said you stepped out in September. Now, September, October, November, December, COVID started happening over there on the other side of the world. It hit us. Has there been any type of regretful moments and thoughts? Because I know sometimes it will creep on in. And how do you handle that when you do have those moments where you're like, man, oh, this is hard. I remember the good days, but you know, I'm still in here strong.
This is behind the highlight reels, right? We keep it at 100. So mine was last night. Like when I left, I had to go through a transformation in the sense of shedding who I was from a corporate perspective, because in the corporate world, you start having a corporate mindset, right? And where you feel like you have to do certain things, you overwork, you don't like you. It's the stress and the forever movement of it, especially for the role that I was in. So I had to transition, and I had to do a lot of forgiveness because I was angry. I was angry. I was disappointed. I was frustrated. I had the wrath of like in me, because it was like again, it's like a relationship, and it was like I gave 10 years of my life, and it felt like, well, what do I have to show for it? You know what I mean? But at the same time, so right, and then there were so many things behind the scenes that no one knew about. The corporate people knew about, and I just felt so unsupported, and I felt so let down, and I felt so, you know what I mean? So I had to go through a transformational period to shed that and then evolve into the entrepreneur, CEO, boss up, person. So for me, where like yesterday when I said I started regretting it, it was more because in the corporate world, you have like, consistent money, that the benefits of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like the insurance that I have now, I'm just like, you know what I mean? It's just the certain benefits that you had that made life so easy. Like I felt like I was Rihanna, you know what I'm saying, back then. And now I feel like I'm Rihanna upon a replay. So it's just, I'm just like, what is happening? So you have to kind of navigate through that. And that's what people have to understand. It's not like, on Instagram, how you see somebody was struggling, and 5 seconds later, like it's not that. It's like it's a work in progress, and you have to work at it every single day, and you have to be dedicated to it. And if you're not, then it's just like it's not going to happen. And because I wasn't well for like the month of July, it kind of threw me off as well. So I'm catching up with what I missed out on, and on top of that, the frustration of again shedding who I've been in regards to my self-value and my self-worth, and not allowing people to just take advantage and or walk all over you. You know what I mean? Like I'm paying for services and it's not getting done, or like, it's just a bunch of different things that I just was so frustrated yesterday that I need to go sit and stand by the water and look at the water and just calm down. Calm down. And that's kind of how I navigate through it. It's kind of big, like, you know what I mean? You'd have to digress and shift your mind so that you don't lose your mind ultimately.
Girl, so I'm so glad that you mentioned the transition here first, because so many people think that I'm just going, because I've been a good hustler. Let's talk about that. Because I've been a good hustler, I've always figured out how to make money on the side. I can do this full time. Y'all, when you leave the workforce, your mind you've almost been brainwashed, right? The whole 40 years and all that good stuff that they want you to do. You've been brainwashed to trade your time for money. As an entrepreneur, you have to shift that entire thinking. You have to change your mindset to how can I leverage my time to make more money? How can I create residual income to where not even working, but it's coming in? So your mind has to shift, and that's a growth that it takes. You have to literally unlearn everything you learned in school, from your family, from everybody that doesn't know better, So I'm glad that you mentioned that, y'all. Personal development is key, is absolutely necessary, and it's not a one-stop shop. I like to tell people, for me, deliverance is a everyday choice, like, and sometimes every hour and every minute. So you have to every single day. So thank you for being honest, because like you had your moment. I'm still in the I work for the government. So just understand that means you don't really get off. And so you work in that, and I'm building my businesses and building another business at the same time. Like, I get it. But my moment, like I had my moment last week, and I was like, let me see. I know what I'm about to do, because I got to connect and realign, or everybody going. I wanted to, I know I posted a status about, my bad, y'all, I'm still falling over. I posted a status about how do you get yourself out of a funk? And so I heard you say you went to some water, y'all. I love water. But what other ways do you use to get yourself and kind of realign yourself and ground yourself again?
I love meditation. I have essential oils. Let me say some essential oils is everything. So I kind of create my atmosphere from the jump. I do meditation baths where I literally put on affirmation. YouTube is my best friend. I put on YouTube affirmations, and I'll put oils into the bath, and I'll just relax, because you just have to like go from 2 million back down to 0. And so for me, it's just like removing myself from certain situations and removing myself from the environment so that I can kind of digress from whatever it is that I'm feeling. Honestly, writing it down, getting it out, so I talk about it. So I have certain people that are really supportive and understand that I'm sometimes a little cuckoo. So I call them, and they'll let me vent. You know what I mean? So having the right support around you is so important, because if you don't, then you're just gonna you already feel like you're alone on the entrepreneur journey, because it's just like nobody understands how I feel, nobody gets it, all that other good stuff. So when you have mentors or coaches or family members or friends that are really supportive and are really there for you, please connect with them, because you need somebody to release to, because if not, you are just going to explode by yourself in your house. Like, you know what I mean? So
yes, connect, y'all. Connection is key. Death lies in isolation, and we don't have time to die. We got stuff out here in the streets we got to do. So connect with people. Connect with people. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to somebody, connect with us. We out here for you. Like we are. There are so many coaches that are willing to hear you out. I mean, you're going to pay us for our services, because we're not going to just hear you, but we're going to help you maneuver through it. So connect with some people. So let's talk about your family and friends, because I know you said connection was how you make it through. Was there any type of conversation that you had with, your family, your friends, your children, when you were going into this transition to I'm working for myself, mommy's going to do this and this is what's going to happen? Or did you bottle it all in and say, listen, y'all going to find out when y'all see it? Like, how did that work?
So for me, I communicated beforehand, because again, I'm like a preparer in some aspects. So I was communicating my frustration before, like always. And so for me, what was the most support that I got, which I was shocked, was on my father, because he's very like critical and very, anyway. So when he was like, oh no, yeah, you need a break. You need to do this. I was like, okay, no, I really need to do this. Like, you know what I mean? Because he's the one that's like, he thought I was nuts when I wanted to be an assistant general manager and when I wanted to be a GM. He was like, what, girl, if you didn't go sit down, do accounting, and like, what are you talking about? So when I was doing it, he was like, oh, like, you know what I mean? So, and he's been my biggest support, honestly. Like the little laptop, not little, but the laptop that I'm on right now, he bought it to bless me for my business. I was like, what, Daddy? You
listen,
right? You know what I mean? So he's been a really big support, which actually surprised me. So we have conversations all the time. My mom is really great as well. I tell her everything, things she probably don't even want to know. So she like literally helped me to kind of navigate. She's the listening ear that kind of gives me advice, but gives me the room to be who I want to be. And like with my children and my relationship, I definitely told my kids. My kids started becoming my little assistants. So like, and I had to communicate with them, because now I'm home 100% of the time, and they're like, wait, what? What are you like? What's happening? Like, they're not used to that. I work like no exaggeration. I would leave by like 6:37 in the morning, and I wouldn't see them till 8:39, 10, maybe more the following morning. You know what I mean? So now I'm around. They love it. Kind of, I think. But they also help me. They help me. So like right now they're in the room and they know it's time to be quiet because mommy's on a broadcast, or it's time to be quiet because she's recording a podcast or whatever it is. So I had to communicate with them so that they would know how to then make the necessary shifts and moves to accommodate now me being an entrepreneur.
Girl, so it's important to tell people that's like relying on you what's going on. So let's talk about, like, just quickly, the lessons that, like, how you you talk to your kids and stuff. Like, what is the lessons that you have for them when it comes to, entrepreneurship versus workforce, and what do you do? Like, what types of lessons do you teach your kids when it comes to that?
So for my children, my goal is to build a legacy for them that they don't have to go to the workforce unless they choose to, because some people, they like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I enjoyed it for a number of years, So I have conversations with them in regards to the entrepreneur journey and helping them to develop things that they're passionate about. So like they have children books that are going to be released. And I built a brand for them as well, so they can start making money from now, because now I'm learning about building wealth. Now I'm learning about having a financial plan so that I can be 10 times more successful. Because, my goal is to be a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire. Yeah. And I want for my kids and my children's kids and their kids to be able to have things that I had, because my family, I came from a great family. But at the same time, in regards to being set up for 100% success, that's what I want for them, where they don't have to worry about money and they don't have to worry about certain things that are controllable ultimately, right? So I'm teaching them, like my son, we have conversations about how to own a home. We have conversations about money. And so like he's kind of working for me. So I'm teaching him how to be like an assistant a little bit. So I have him do different tasks that I know that he can take care of. So he's just kind of enhancing his skills. And then my daughter, she just mimics everything that I do. So like when I start my speaking engagements, I'm like, hello, beautiful people. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Who has had challenges in their life? So when she comes behind the computer and does it, and I'm going to record her one day so you guys can see it. Because she's like literally a mini me. It's kind of crazy.
Well, kids will definitely pick up what they see. So it's definitely important to teach the other lessons to the younger generation. And I'm literally the same way. I don't have kids, but I like to say I have kids because every child that's in my life, they mine. My nieces, my nephew, because I used to be a teacher, they still mine. So we want to leave the legacy and teach them the things that we learned so late in life. Lord, teach them now. Teach them now. Because these little things, like I'm glad that you said that you're teaching them how to be an assistant. Some people would look down on, oh, why teach people how to be an assistant? You learn things in that. You learn how to move and what you would do and what you won't do. And then you learn how to be a better leader when you are serving others. People need to get that through. But so we ain't gonna preach today.
Right. So with him, like it's like for him, what is teaching him is how to, like, I use Google Drive for everything. So he's navigating through Google Drive. He's doing a bunch of different things. He's learning how to create a to-do list. So it's enhancing his skills because regardless, he's gonna be going to school. He's gonna have assignments. He's gonna have a schedule. So it just enhances his ability so that he can be 10 times better or even 10 times more ahead than the other kids. You know what I'm saying? Just saying.
Yeah. Like it's like, okay, we pretty much in this race. They don't put us in a race. So how can we get ahead?
Absolutely. Yes, leave a legacy to the next generation. Yes, Crystal. Yes. Exactly.
And y'all have to work with me. We out here just learning new skills. I'm learning how to put comments on the screen. So, this show is always ever improving. All right. So, challenges. I know you talked a little bit about it, but let's talk about like the bigger challenges besides the mindset management, because we already talked about that. What other types of challenges have you seen when it comes, and not COVID, because we already know COVID, but what other challenges have you seen when it comes to that transition into entrepreneurship?
It's just more of holding yourself the accountable piece. Because when you're at a job, you have SOPs, standard operating procedures, you have things that are already in place to help you to navigate through your day, your week, your month. Whereas when you're an entrepreneur, you're literally building things from scratch, right? So like having clarity, because for me, I'm like, I can do everything. And so like just gaining clarity on what I want to provide, what I want to do, why do I want to do it? You know what I mean? Finding the right people to connect with. Was a challenge because in the corporate space, you have a lot of crab in the barrel mindset people. So as you're being a cheerleader and for everybody else, everybody's side-eyeing and salty, but not really showing it or trying to find a way to sabotage you. So in that way, it was a challenge to find people that I didn't already have a judgment about because of what I experienced, but then finding the right people, the right mentors, the right virtual assistants, because I did find them, that are really, truly supportive and really understand what you're going through. Because sometimes, hi, Leslie, sometimes you feel like you are by yourself. Like you literally feel like you're alone and no one understands what you're going through. But when you start connecting with like-minded individuals, you realize like, oh, I could be myself. Oh, I don't have to think twice about what I'm wearing or how my hair is going to be, or I can just be authentically myself. Okay, this is great. And you have people that support you and understand because they may be facing the same challenges as well.
Yes. So that literally is why I created Behind the Highlight Reels, because like I am so transparent and I went through that same phase of even being so kind of nervous and afraid to tell people what I was doing, because I was afraid that they would either be like, nah, or steal my idea or something. Or even when it came to, because I am a mindset management coach, trying to put on this facade that everything is always perfect.
Right.
Even if they choose to make it phenomenal, sometimes my choice is to just live in the emotion that I'm feeling. I'm not
Right.
feeling too well, right? So I had a struggle of how to be authentic with who I am and how to show that. And then I decided, hey, let's be transparent 100% with everybody, not just me, because
Mm-hmm.
there's more people out here that have other lessons and other experiences that need to
Right.
be shared. So I'm so glad that, you know, there are different platforms. Like, I'm not the only person that's transparent, and my show isn't the only show that's 1,000% real and transparent. I mean, but we're the best. But but you know, it's so important to connect with people who are not going to judge you, who have been in different levels, because don't just connect with somebody that's on your same level, because you're only going to reach that level. Connect with everybody else too, and be mindful. Be mindful. Everybody ain't your client. Everybody ain't your friend. Because you said in corporate, there's that crab in the barrel. In entrepreneurship, there is that same type of crab in the barrel, but a different view of it.
I
It's
know
like,
exactly what you mean.
I have to be your competition all the time. We can do the same thing and still connect and collaborate, because
Right.
there's billions of people in this world. Honey, I ain't gonna take all of them. Like, I know I'm the best, but I ain't gonna take them. I don't even have time to take them all. Like, there's still time
Right.
for you know? So I'm so glad that you mentioned that. So you also talked to us about how you planned and prepared to leave, but now you on a whole different side of this whole thing, right? So talk to us about, what is Chanel doing now?
What am I not doing? I just feel like, oh my gosh. Like, honestly, I just feel like because I was behind, I'm like catching up. So I'm just like, my brain is, I don't like mishaps. I don't like confusion. So I'm just like, I need to get everything organized and replan now. So I'm working on Warriors Paradigm, which I wanted to release before, but then I got sick. So I'm sorry, beautiful people. It's coming. So Warriors Paradigm would be the first book that I'm releasing under my own publishing company, but I am a 6-time bestselling author already. I'm working on my own anthology project, The Evolution Effect, that will be coming sooner rather than later. And I'm very big on being Black and proud. And I know that, you know, in corporate spaces, in life in general, we're kind of looked as to be inferior, unfortunately. So I love to, I'm creating a platform where we can share our voices, share our experiences, and give encouraging words to other people that may have faced the same things that we have. Because, you know, being a woman and being a Black person, it's been a challenge, honestly. So I'm very big on providing opportunities as well as giving people platforms to share their stories, because at the end of the day, if you don't, then who will know, right? So I'm working on my podcast. I'm currently recording season 2. And season 3 recordings will start in August. Thank you. And I'm working on another project that I'm not really talking about yet, because it's still kind of in the works. And then I'm also building my client packages. So I help help women to transform. So I have another book. I have like so many projects that I'm working on. Maximum Evolution: 7 Steps to Transform from Victim to Warrior. Because we all are warriors, we all are superheroes, we all have gone through things. So it's imperative for us to understand that our past doesn't define our future, and we have control of who we could be, not the people that hurt us, not the people that try to damage us, not the people that try to break us. Listen, okay? Because, you know, this life happens. And then also working on my children's brand. I kind of put it to the side a little bit to focus on building my platform. But we already have 2 children books, 2 illustration books done. And they already have coloring books and puzzle books done as well. So it's working on a bunch of book projects, but also building my transformation platform, where I help women to transform their lives and become a better them and take over the world, because we run the world, as Beyonce said. Anyway.
So I hear all of the many things that you are working on, girl. I thought I was bad, but yes, definitely believe in you. So talk to me about balancing? How are you balancing all of that? Because I know for me and my many things, sometimes I can get to the point where I'm like, Lord, what am I doing? Oh Jesus, what am I? I'm behind in everything, and even in life, like I feel like I'm behind. But then I have to be like, okay, Theresa, get your mind together. You right where you're supposed to. Redeem your time. You good. And I have those moments. So talk to me about like how you are balancing everything, and what type of tools, trips, and even how you delegate those tasks with your assistant. What are you doing over there?
So for me, like you mentioned, I am my own worst critic. So that's why I'm like in overwhelm a little bit right now. Because I'm like, it needs to be done today. But what I do, one, to kind of manage it, is I appreciate how I've grown thus far. So I don't do the comparison thing anymore. I compare myself to myself, meaning, okay, what did I accomplish that I wanted to get done yesterday? Where am I compared to last year? Where am I to 5 years ago? That's one. So that kind of helps with calming myself down. But at the same time, I plan. So like I'll have my week and I'll say, okay, Monday, this is what I'm going to execute. Tuesday, this is what I'm going to do. And I have my list. So I have my goal list for the week. I have a goal for the month. And then I also do daily task lists so I know what I need to execute. Right now, it's pretty much me running the show because I had some transitions that we all go through. Again, having the right people to get things done and hire, and having the right people do things the right way.
Yes.
Because everybody swears they know how to do everything. And then when you get it, you're like, what is that? Another conversation. And like, for me, I'm like, I just do it myself. But it's like, no, like your time is precious. Delegate things that, what is that? Sean T. Blanchard said minimum wage activity. I think that was from a 4-hour week book. Minimum wage activity, things that you do not need to do, that is not generating money for you. Next, delegate it.
Yes.
Delegate it. Graphics.
Listen, people, there is deliverance in delegation. And because it was a hard lesson for me. And I think, this year, at the beginning of this year, I don't know. I think it was like the end of last year. All my months is adding up together. But there is deliverance. And I had to learn that. And even reaching out and getting an assistant. And I went through many assistants, kind of like what you were saying. I went through many transitions and assistants. And it's not to say that there was anything wrong with them. We just were not a good match. Some of my expectations didn't meet their expectations, or some of the things that I wanted, they couldn't deliver in the time frame or the way that I wanted it, but they were just perfect for someone else. So I never try to bash other people, but I can bash the experience, because some of the times I went through hell with assistance. But at the end of the day, I think there's a lesson in every obstacle and every challenge. And I have learned how to even deal with people, how to give phenomenal criticism, and even learning another plug, girl, not for me, but one of my business coaches, Amber Aziza, she had an event that we did, 5 a.m. morning, miracle morning, and she taught us in one of the lessons how to give and receive criticism. That was one of the best lessons I've learned, because it helped me to be a better leader and how to delegate tasks. And when they come back and they don't do what you think that you expected, how to talk to them about it without like everybody pissed off and offended, but how to build a better relationship, because sometimes those assistants may be able to come back, not as my assistant, but like as a client,
right?
Something else,
right. Sometimes sometimes you can be as understanding, because I'm a very understanding person. And sometimes it's to a fault, because I let people get away with things that,
girl.
Anyways, but at the same, sometimes you got to give them straight, like, listen, this is not working. Like, because then you get frustrated. And it's just like, okay, like I paid you for a service. What is this? Like, you know what I mean? I could have did this myself. And so it's kind of setting the expectation from the jump, and setting the standard from the beginning, so that there's no shade of gray and no room for some confusion. If there is any, please hold while I go back to email. Please hold while I go back to message.
That's exactly what that criticism part is about, because if you set those expectations at the beginning, when you start to criticize it, you really don't have that space to be offended. What you mean? We already talked about this. You already know what I expected. You don't this email, remember on the 23rd when we talked
Right.
you said
Or
you
like,
understood. So
mhm.
even girl, so mindset, okay, but also coming back to like the SOPs, the difference between that entrepreneurship and working in corporate, because in corporate they've already went through that and they created those standard procedures. As entrepreneurs, we got to create this. So sometimes, like for me, when I had my first assistant, I was like, dang, I'm just assuming everybody know this stuff. And they don't. Like, so now I got to create procedures
Right.
in places where I thought that, some things were common sense, but they're not. And so it starts to you do start to learn different personalities, different people, because I had assistants from different like countries.
Backgrounds. Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, I started to understand a little bit more, but now I'm in a place where like I'm very much so I give my expectation at the beginning. I'm very transparent, but I'm very way more comfortable saying, okay, this is not what I expected. Let's my expectation. Please understand this will be like the last time. So if you don't understand, let's talk it through, and I'm gonna have you repeat it back to me in the way that you understood, because having assistants in different countries, sometimes that language barrier.
Right.
So but it has caused me to learn, like, I want an American assistant. Like, I really want someone that's local and
Right.
I can talk to and I can see their face. But girl,
Right.
that's another conversation.
Yeah.
There is deliverance and delegation. We just got to learn who to delegate to, right?
Right. And honestly, in the corporate world, because I was a GM, it being in the corporate space literally helped me a lot foundationally, because now I know how to manage. And so, like when you said, well, I assumed that people knew. Lord, when I was a GM, I used to be like, well, that's common sense. But then I learned common sense ain't so common. So that kind of helped me to understand, to kind of be way more thorough. So like with my book projects and with certain things, I give way more information, or I over communicate, because I'd rather say it versus than assume and then come back later like, well, what is that? Like, why would you think that was okay? Like, why do you think that was okay to send? Why did you like, you know what I mean? Like, why does that look like that? Like, I don't understand. You know what I mean? Right. What is this? I don't understand. You know what I mean? So it helped me a lot, honestly, because again, in being a GM, I was the CEO of an entire hotel. And so now I shifted into being the CEO of my company, but also having to kind of get myself back in line, because again, it's just you. So you can just be like, well, I feel like working today, so I'm just going to do Netflix and chill. That's it. You know what I mean?
So don't you complain about no money because you try to do Netflix and chill a month later. Right? So I'm glad that you mentioned how your corporate position gave you skills that you needed for being an entrepreneur. I always tell people, pull from your experiences. People come to me all the time, especially with me working in government. They're like, oh my gosh, can you help me get a job? Can you help me write a resume? I ain't did nothing, because that's how we talk. I ain't did nothing for that job. Like all the stuff that they're saying, I haven't done anything. And I'm like, listen, I can guarantee you have done things that it takes.
Right.
You just don't understand how to pull from it and make it visible and make it sound great. So I'm glad that you talked about like pulling from your corporate experiences. And so as we start to wrap up, talk to us about how people can get in touch with you and where to find you and the podcast. Like, how are we listening in? Like, how we get in touch with Chanel?
So my favorite website, www.readytotransformnow.com, is my website. It's going to be rebranded, so I'm super excited about that. So you can connect with me. My Instagram is @ChanelSpencerNow. @ChanelSpencerNow, because you need me now, not tomorrow, not 2 days later. Now. And my business Instagram is @MaximumEvolution, and my podcast is Evolve. It's on like all platforms: Google, Apple, Spotify, Anchor. So it's Evolve, EVOLV, fearless, unfiltered, and unapologetic, because that's just how I give it up. But yes.
Girl. So listen, if you don't do anything else today, y'all, go to readytotransformnow.com and check out all that Chanel is doing, because she got something for your kids. She got something for you to listen to. She got a book coming out that's going to help you get your life together. Listen, she got a lot of things for you. She got something for everybody. So make sure you go to Ready to Transform Now. Go to her Instagram page, her Facebook page. If y'all paid attention to me, y'all know I tagged her in all of our stuff. Check out the last episode to see some of the good tips and tricks that she did when she took over the show, because the internet kicked me off the show. Did a phenomenal time. And Chanel, thank you so much for joining us and being real and transparent, because I need people, and the world needs people who are naturally transparent and 1,000% real. Thank you guys for joining us. Chanel, as we leave, if there's something else you want to tell the people.
Just make sure you follow me. Go order Warriors Paradigm now. Just saying, that's the book that's coming out really soon. I'm super excited about that. Tune into my podcast. And if you want to be a client, call me, beat me if you want to reach me.
Yes, super excited about that, y'all. I got my book, so y'all better get y'all's pre-ordered now. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. And the next episode, while I'm thinking about it, Behind the Highlight Reels will be, let me look before I say it. I think it is next on the 31st. Wait, is that, that's Friday. Oh, goodness, girl. So the next episode is the 31st. These weeks, y'all, have flew by. We have Charlotte, right. Harriet, honey. She got some stuff for you. I ain't gonna give
her. She's good. I love her.
She is amazing. She'll be on this Friday. We will see you guys on Friday. Remember, you make your day how you want it to be. So choose to make it phenomenal. Have a phenomenal day. Bye.
Bye, beautiful people.